Yes guys, everything bite-sized here. I hope you're all doing well. Today we're back with another mental health video. This time we're dealing with how bad methamphetamine is for you. I don't have any personal experience with methamphetamine, but when I was younger I did used to abuse bog standard amphetamines. I got addicted to them, and when I finally came off of them I had like serious psychosis. So I can't even imagine how bad like meth is compared to that. So we're going to be looking at a few Reddit posts. This one is titled "Never Try Meth in Your Life," and it's a list of reasons why. It says, meth is not meant for studying. Meth will not make you study better. Meth will not make you happy. Meth takes away your happiness and makes it even harder to feel happy in the future. Meth might destroy your academic/medical career. Meth will destroy your friendships. Meth will make you aggressive and a dickhead. Meth will make you prioritize meth above everything else, including people. Meth can cause some extent of brain damage that will never heal. Meth will cause an addiction that lasts for life. Meth will steal everything that you love. Wine and chocolate are still enjoyable, but it's not the same. If you give up, learn not to expect so much. You'll be happier. Failures won't be as crushing. Moving on and bouncing back is so much easier. Depression, or the propensity to be depressed, isn't easy, but cognitive behavioural therapy implies that your emotions can be controlled at will, and I agree with it to certain extents. I found this next comment in a thread titled, "Who are some people you know personally or otherwise who ruin their own lives, and how?" Someone says, meth, less than 6 months between getting into it and the police pulling his body out of a river. Wow. And then there's like a sub thread that goes on talking about meth, so we're going to get into it. Next comment: had a buddy who got scouted by professional baseball when we were in high school. They wanted him in the farm system. His mum wanted him in college, so the team allowed it. Dude found meth before leaving for college. He never made it there. He's now homeless and on his last legs. Here's a reply to that comment. My uncle was a star baseball player in high school, got scouted by the Oakland A's, who then invited him for a tryout. Some girl he liked said she'd go out with him, so he just bailed and didn't go to the tryout. He figured he was so good that there would be plenty of opportunities. No more scouts, just that single date with the girl who then blew him off. He spent his entire life working in fast food restaurants and intermittently hooked on drugs of one kind or another. One failed marriage in his 40s, no kids, died single and alone. No one found him for 3 days in his trailer. Talked about his one shot throughout all of his life, like they had screwed him out of fame and fortune because he was too good for the game. Just a truly sad person. Yeah, that is a shame, man, like ditching an opportunity like that out of pride and also wanting to go on a date, and it was a short-term relationship by the sounds of it. That is really tragic. Anyway, the next comment is in response to the first comment I read. So the thread, again, for just to refresh, is titled, "Who are some people you know personally or otherwise who have ruined their own lives, and how?" And the comment says, meth, less than 6 months between getting into it and the police pulling his body out of the river. So the next comment says, "Yep, one of my ex-girlfriends is now homeless because she couldn't stop doing meth. When we first got together, she was the manager of a record store, making good money, getting backstage passes for concerts, etc. Then she really got hardcore into meth and started stealing from the store to support her habit. Things went downhill from there, and now she lives in a tent. No job, no car, no income, no longer has any friends. I left her before things got really bad because I saw what was coming down the road, but it's still depressing to see someone you care for fall so hard. Well, that, and she was blaming me for the reason why our bills weren't getting paid, but it was actually her spending the money on dope. Cousin of mine is on it, unfortunately. Basically grew up as brothers and we graduated together, but went on separate paths. The next time I saw him, it was like talking to a toddler. He fried his brain pretty damn fast. One of my best friends growing up got real bad with that stuff. I gave him a ride when he was homeless, and he spent the time telling me how he owned the hotel he was sleeping behind and that he was undercover trying to catch the drug dealers in the park across the street. Then he wanted to go to the Apple store and buy several hundred iPads for his employees. It was weird. He looked, talked and acted like I remembered him, but he wasn't the same person. Even if he got sober, I don't think he'll ever be right again. A good friend of mine retired at 42 as a captain at a pretty decent sized fire department. He bought a Harley and started prospecting with the Devil's Disciples. He became a full patch member and then he started doing meth. A year or so later he started doing heroin and lost everything and had to move back in with his parents at 45. A few months later he died of a heroin overdose in his parents' bathroom. That's tragic, man. Next one. My brother got into meth for a few years. He's been clean for well over a decade now, but recently one of his old meth friends had a relapse. One of the things meth can do to someone is make them hypersexual. Meth heads are known for beating off in public. Wow, that's kind of effed up. The next thread is titled, Serious, is meth really as bad as people say? Yes, first-hand experience, almost overdosing, horrible hallucinations from lack of sleep, and the crazy attitude people get on it. That was bad enough. Now let's discuss the ongoing health problems. My stomach is effed from digesting it and doesn't always deal with food. My nose goes into extreme overdrive every morning, requiring me to blow my nose and cough up a lung to get the draining mucus out from snorting it. And I lost 2 teeth, setting up the downfall of others from smoking it. Too long didn't read, don't do meth, kids. Edit, this note all stems from only 8-ish months of daily use. Wow. Whew, that is quite intense. Meth is quite bad, but people make it look like the worst thing ever, when in truth cocaine is just as bad and more addictive, even though it isn't seen that way. And in the scale of bad drugs, meth is like a 6.5 out of 10, but still don't do drugs. Okay, I don't agree with that comment, and I've never even tried meth. For one, meth has been proven to release more dopamine in the brain than cocaine, so it is more addictive than cocaine. And 2, 6.5 out of 10 does not sound like high enough. So yeah, again, we're seeing is meth is really as bad as people say. Yes, it is. I watched my son's mother go through an addiction to this sick drug that is killing tons of people. Due to her addiction, I ended up getting custody of him. Meth doesn't straight up destroy a person generally. You feel yourself gradually slipping, and by choosing to do nothing about it / go along with it, it's really the person not caring so much about themselves that does the damage. Just like with cigarettes, addiction isn't instant at all. Source, did it frequently for like a year. Okay, so I can kind of see where they're going with that. Like for instance, if you were to get free heroin every day and take it safely, it wouldn't necessarily destroy your body. There are ways that it can over time and impact you. It's the lack of care, because you spend all your money on the drug, so you end up homeless. You stop taking care of yourself, and so I get what they're saying. But even with heroin, like even if you got free heroin and you were a functioning heroin addict for like after 10-20 years, it can screw up your pituitary gland, and it can stop you from being able to produce testosterone, and you end up needing testosterone shots like every month. So I get what they're saying. It is mostly a lack of self-care, but that's because of the drug making you not care for yourself. I get it. Anyway, I come from a city where the proportion of people who have tried it at least once or twice is massive. Of the people I knew well coming out of university, probably at least 50% tried it during the following years. Some used it many more times. I only know one guy who developed a major problem, and frankly he was out looking for a way to destroy himself. Okay, maybe there was more people you knew had a serious problem, but they managed to hide it. Anyway, the rest happily held down their professional jobs while having their fun on the weekend before moving on with their lives. If it doesn't kill you, it destroys friendships and relationships. Recently learned a girl I know relapsed on this drug and has now damaged an important part of her life: motherhood. Yeah, it's so sad, man, that drugs like heroin and cocaine and meth can make people forego their responsibilities as a parent and lose their kids. That is like the most tragic thing. Anyway, moving on. As someone who has seen the destruction of a loved one by meth, yes, it is absolutely as bad. In some cases, probably worse. Look up mugshots of people arrested for meth. Those will tell you how bad it is. Well, as an avid fan of meth, I have to admit that it has a reputation for good reasons. Beyond the obvious ones, there are reasons that even the occasional dabbler has to endure. A. Addictive and dangerous. B. Legality issues. C. Long range of side effects, whether long term or short term, in varying degrees of severity. D. Sketchy ass underworld. E. People seemingly decay. So let's say you're one of the few who's recreational users. Here's where meth separates itself from other drugs, parentheses, for me. A. As far as most uppers go, meth's high duration is long. B. People handle their shiz differently. Some of the coolest people become shady as shiz once they're tweaking. Others remain as if they were relatively normal. Funny thing, the former usually think they're the latter, while the latter's too worried about appearing the former. That's so interesting. Let's read that again. People handle their shiz differently. Some of the coolest people become shady as shiz once they're tweaking. Others remain as if they were relatively normal. Funny thing, the former usually think they're the latter, while the latter's too worried about appearing the former. C. Illusion of productivity, honed in, driven, enhanced capabilities, like it were Popeye spinach for the spun. D. Methamphetamine does a number on your brain. E. Becoming one of those people dealing with the first batch of consequences is so much closer than you'd think. F. Even as far as hard drugs go, meth is far from socially acceptable, no matter what frequency. All the attention from cautionary tales, whether hyperbolic or a former user trying to give word to the wise, leave people wondering how bad meth really can be. Spoiler, kind of bad to be F beyond your wildest nightmares. Now, chronic users, ho ho, not only do we deal with both these sets of reasons, but the time your brain takes to fully recover is astonishing. As you can guess, not in a good way. In rehabs, meth addicts are frequently told that it can take up to a year before they experience quote-unquote joy. Now, most freshly recovering addicts are miserable as shiz, so that sounds like a duh, but this isn't not being happy due to circumstance, but an incapability. I'm sure repeated use leads to other, likely permanent changes in the brain, but I'm too spun to read up myself right now. So yeah, it is, but keep perspective in mind. Myself, for example, are well aware of these consequences, but it's one reward inside the high carries weight. Like the weight of a dying star, really, it makes all the other shiz just part of it. Whew. Okay, let's read some more comments about why meth is bad. Yes, please don't try it. The physical changes and the fact you will age 10 times faster should be enough to make you stay away. Stick to the lighter stuff. Yes, it's really that bad. This is a joke, right? I've known people from my teen years who are 25 and look 40. People who've ended up in prison. People with criminal records that prevent them from ever getting a decent job. They're missing teeth and missing life all because of meth. It's disgusting what people do to themselves for that shiz. Ooh. Yeah, it's pretty free and easy with drug use. Yeah, I'm pretty easy when it comes to drug use. Live and let live and all that. I like most drugs, though I don't do many these days, but meth, F that stuff. I don't want it around me, I don't want people on it around me. Bad attitudes, bad smell, bad teeth. Yes, my uncle was an addict for years and it's wrecked him completely. Meth is a terrible, terrible drug. I think we're going to leave it, actually no, let's read this one more comment and then we'll leave it at that. I have a family member who has had lifelong problems with addiction, the most prevalent being meth. Here are some of her issues. She's just about 40, she could pass for 55. She was married to a person who manufactured meth, had her trailer raided by the FBI while she had small children there. Oh, that sucks, man. Can you imagine how traumatizing that would be as a kid, getting your door booted down? The comment does go on to say some other stuff, but it's some very triggering stuff, so I'm not going to go into it. I'm going to leave the video at that. Be sure to check out my other content, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.